Good afternoon or evening, everybody. It is Tuesday, March the 5th, about 5:30 p.m. This is meteorologist Shay Gibson with Sail Flow and Leading Edge Weather, providing you with a preliminary forecast for this weekend's event, Saturday and Sunday, the Sheriff's Cup race to Rockville and back to Charleston. So Saturday's the race two, on Sunday the race back. So several things to talk about. It looks like some rain, some possible storms moving in Saturday. Hopefully those will wait till late afternoon or evening where most people can get into Rockville before that begins. So with that said, let me go ahead and just dive in. I'm going to put myself down here in the corner of the screen, give you the screenshot or the shot of the Cora's website where you can come here to see the Sheriff's Cup. Everything you need to know is here. This is sponsored by Ashley Yachts. And you just click the Sheriff's Cup link. It brings you right to the area you should be at with the sailing instructions notice of race. It's not too late to register if you haven't already. I think we have until the 6th until 6 p.m. I believe. There may be some wiggle room there. I don't know, but you would have to contact the Cora folks there. Either way, let's go ahead and dive right into the map. Here's the WPC. This is on Friday, the WPC surface map, where we show high pressure ridged over the Carolinas, and eventually that is going to expand out over the Atlantic while a cold front starts to approach from the west, and a warm front over Florida starts to approach from the south. So a couple things going on here that are going to mean the moisture profile is going to be building into Saturday. And as we get into Saturday morning, we see the warm front coming, which means the winds will likely shift from an east-northeast flow over to an east flow early, and eventually we'll get into an east-southeast to southeast flow below that front, that warm front, as it lifts across the area. How far north it goes is the key on when the winds turn. So early on, we'll probably see more of like an east-southeast flow into the coastline, right, before sunrise. And then as the day progresses, we see the winds veering more and more from the south and even from the south-southwest, becoming more in line with this cold front as it approaches from the west. So if we move this forward, we only get 12-hour increments here, which shows the cold front pushing off the coast by Sunday morning and a west flow developing. We'll get into that in just a minute. But the main theme is Saturday, we're going to see a veering wind for the most part and a building wind, which means we're going to be getting into the moderate levels. I wouldn't say the low level jetting profile looks extreme at this point, where we're going to see, mid 20s gusting into the 30s. But then again, we are still about 4 or 5 days out, so things can change and they will change according to the timeline. Hopefully that front will back up into Saturday night. So taking a look at windy, we look at Saturday we go early, 6 a.m. We see the winds from the southeast. This is just going on the GFS reading, by the way. We're not quite far enough later in the week to get the higher resolution for the NAM 3 kilometer, but that will come into play. But we do see that there's a front coming across the Tennessee Valley. The warm front's lifting over Charleston. And as we go through the day, this is 7 a.m. We get into 9 a.m. The winds are starting to veer a little bit more from the south. 11 a.m. a little bit more, and as we go through the day, we see that the winds continue to do that. So basically, you're going to be heading south in a south wind. So you're going to have a headwind as you're going down the coastline and around into the Rockville area. Let's take a look at the local readings here. I want to get a beat. I'm just going to use the Folly south end. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use the harbor for right now for the start of the race and available models. We'll run that in through Saturday morning early, and it looks like we have that east-southeast flow. Some of these models just do not go out very far in time. In fact, we're looking at the real-time refresh model, but we want to focus on the GFS, which is down in the green. And as we get into Saturday morning, it looks like, again, we see some agreement here between the two models right here with a east-southeast to southeast. I'll cut it right down the middle. And we'll say that's going to be the start. As we get right at the start, that's where that southeast flow starts to go. Once we hit about 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, we start to see that southerly flow come in. I'm not so sold on this model right here, so I wouldn't put too much money into that one. Let's go with the GFS right now, which is down here in the green. And as we go through the day, we see the winds veering slowly from the south, eventually south-southwest and southwest. So hopefully most folks will be making it into the coast, into the Rockville area by mid to late afternoon at the very latest. That's going to be a timing issue with what looks like could be storms and possibly some severe storms. I don't think we're going to be seeing an enhanced region, might be marginal, but it's still too early to tell because the SPC has not issued those out this far out in time. So we will see how that progresses, but we definitely want to take a look at the GFS models, what goes on. I'm just running, we had to wait till the 18Z models came out this afternoon before going live. And so Just looking forward, here's Friday. This is in the afternoon at 1 p.m. We get into Saturday, we start to see that moisture profile build 1 in the morning. We get into 7 in the morning, we start to see the moisture moving in along the warm front as it lifts to the north. The Gulf surge starts to occur between that warm front and the cold front. So we go back and look, and a large majority of that Gulf energy is going to be rising up and across this area here. So hopefully most of that stays to our north initially in the morning, and then we start to see as that curtain goes up to the north, the warm front, the moisture starts to fill in later in the afternoon. So that's what the GFS model is showing. As we get through the day, we see more building. This is in the early afternoon hours. And then as we get into the evening, about 7 p.m., 8 p.m., this is where a majority of those heavy rains and storms are going to start moving in. So with that said, a lot of times we see the timeline backed up. Like right now, we're 4 or 5 days out, 5 days out to Saturday evening. And so we tend to see this kind of moving out a little farther in time, right? And so that's the idea. We want to push it into the night. And then as we get into Sunday, we talked about the winds and everything. Let's real quick before we get into Sunday, I do want to look at the Nearshore Wave Prediction Center. Let's just pick a point here. I'm going to go with the nearshore buoy 41076. This is 18 miles out. And let's just take a quick pull at it for the forecast. Looks like everything's working again. I know sometime late last year this stopped working for some reason, this function. But it looks like as we get into Saturday on the night, the swell is going to be building. We're going to be at 4 feet at about 18 miles out. Farther into the coast, between 5 and 10 nautical miles, we're looking at probably about 3 feet. So you're going to have building seas with the winds veering and building through the day. We're talking about maximum 14 to 18 knots out over the ocean. 16 to 20 is possible with gusts into the mid 20s. So that's going to be building the wave height. We're going to be going from 3 to 4 feet overnight and then starting to calm on Sunday. I think we'll see that calm is like if you're closer into land on Sunday when that offshore flow begins, the swell will settle down. Predominantly, the period will be around 8 seconds to start, maybe 8 or 9 seconds. So not too bad for a 3 to 4 foot swell offshore. It's still a little bit rough. We want 10 plus on those to make it a little easier for the travel. But the direction will be coming in from the east for the most part. We may have some variances on that either side of that from the east northeast or east southeast. That's generally the swell direction. So again, we're looking at about 3 to 4 feet from the east at about 8 seconds for most of the morning and most of the day Sunday. And that swell is going to build through the day. We'll be getting 4 feet at 5 to 10 nautical miles out as we get into the early to mid-afternoon hours, where the low-level jets will increase ahead of that front. Like I said earlier, not too bad on the low-level jets. So we're looking at 14 to 18 closer to shore, 16 to 20 well out 5 to 10 nautical miles from the varying southerly directions. If you do want to look at more data as we get in time, this is a really good site to go to, the CORMP site, cormp.org, and the University of Wilmington helps maintain these CAP2 wave buoys, which are tethered to the main buoys out there, and gives you this data. Now, these are all online and working right now. So I know a few weeks ago, they had to go out and do some repair work. One of them or some replacements. And so these are up and running now for your live information that's going on now. These do not provide forecasts, but they are real-time data. Gives you the wind wave period, the height, swell direction, everything that you need for your swell guidance in real time out there. Okay, going to Sunday, as we look for the return to Charleston, looks like a pretty good day. Looks like things are going to clear out. The sun's going to come back. It's going to be a little bit breezy out there. We're going to have this upper low developing off the mid-Atlantic coast. You see this wraparound westerly flow. Don't look at these lines. These lines are isobars, which are lines of pressure. This map does not show isotachs, which are the same variances of lines, but with wind speeds. And what we have is a Texas ridge building out west that's going to be throwing a westerly flow our way. Wraparound low makes the winds a little bit more with a northerly element. So we end up with a west-northwest flow across the coast, and it looks rather healthy. And let's go back to here. And we'll pick this time, we're going to go to the South Folly sensor, just another good point of reference. Go here for Sunday, and it looks like west-northwest. And the GFS is starting to throw a little bit of a northwest flow as we get in later in the daytime, but for the morning, I think the kickoff's around 10 a.m. Looks really well. I think we're going to be sitting about 13 to 15 knots, maybe 14 to 18 offshore, well offshore. May even see some 15 to 19 knots, gusting into the low 20s, maybe mid 20s at times. I think this is going to be just a more straight moderate wind instead of a moderate to strong wind overall. So it looks pretty good. Nice breezy sunny day coming back for Sunday. So it looks pretty good. As far as temperatures go, looks like our temperatures are going to drop down to 70, maybe 69 on Sunday, but the Weather Service is talking about possibly Saturday as being a warmer day overall. We may even see that surge up as that warm front lifts through the area. We may get up near 75 to 80 degrees through the day on Saturday. Sunday, with that westerly flow, sure, it's going to drop. So we'll probably be in the low 70s at that point. Water temperatures right now are, make sure I get the latest, 58.1, so they've come up about 7 degrees over the last week and a half with this warm air returning in the springtime being firmly in place. So it looks like water temperatures by this weekend will likely be right around 60 degrees for the race. And that's going to be a wrap for today, folks. I think just looking it all over, things, like I said, things will change. This is preliminary only, but at least you get some guidance for what we're doing on Saturday. Hopefully those showers and storms will hold out through the day. We can't rule out isolated showers through the day, so bring your rain gear. Be ready to get wet out there at some point Saturday as that prefrontal moisture build increases through the day. Otherwise, I will probably post another video tomorrow as we get a little bit closer in, and then I'll see you at the Skippers meeting 5:30 on Thursday at the CYC. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.